Okay guys, welcome back to our second episode of our second series, where we are currently creating a game called Breakout. This is a clone of the classic Breakout game where you have to control a paddle and a ball and hit some bricks in the scene and break them to progress to the next levels. In our first episode let's go and change this quick. So in our first episode, which we actually just filmed like 10 minutes ago, which is why everything is still open, we went and started creating our main menu scene. So let's have a look. This is what we did yesterday. Not yesterday, like 5 minutes ago. Well, yesterday, because the episode was released yesterday, but we actually filmed it a few like 10 minutes ago. So in the previous episode, we went and started creating our main menu. So all you do is you can exit the game, which doesn't work because you can't exit the game inside of the Unity editor. So this will work, but only when we export and build our project at the end of the series. I'll show you. And then we have another button over here that takes us from the main menu scene into our game scene. So all we do is click that and it pops us over into our game scene. So in this episode, we're going to actually start programming the movement of our ball and our paddle. And then we're also going to add in some boundaries on the side of the screen so that when the ball bounces from one side of the screen to the other, it doesn't go off of your computer screen, so it will hit here and then bounce that way and then hit the top and then bounce this way and hit that side and then bounce back down. And then what else are we going to do? We are going to add in the out of bounds area. So below here, if we go to our game scene, not that it's different, but from here we're going to have a paddle that you move from left to right, just like this. And if you miss the ball, if it comes down too fast and you can't get there in time, it's going to go below the paddle, and that area is going to be called an out of bounds area. So if the ball reaches this area, you're going to lose a life if you have any left, and then the ball will end up respawning back into the scene where you will have to start again. So we're also going to implement that today. And let's see what else. So boundary for the ball, moving the ball. So that's it for today. Should not take us too long. So I think sorry. So I think let's go ahead and start by setting up our paddle. So first of all, we actually need to create a paddle. So let's go ahead and create a new folder, and we'll call this prefabs. So these are just things that we're gonna use over and over again, so we'll just save them into here so that we don't have to create them over and over again. We just use one and drag and drop it into our scene. So in our game scene, let's just make sure we're in that. So perfect, we're in our game scene. So let's go and create, what do we want? We want a 2D object. So let's a square, 2D square. And then in our scene, we will double click on our square, and that will pop us into view of it. So let's zoom out a bit, and then we want to rescale this and make this I don't know, let's say the X, let's say about 5 maybe. Y we can probably leave it at 1 maybe 0.8, or no, let's just leave it at 1. 1 looks good. Let's make probably 5.5. Nah, okay. We'll leave the X value at 5 and the Y value at 1. And then what we do is we are going to go back into our XD file, and we will go and get our green color that we used in our channel art over here. So we're gonna use this color for our paddle. Copy this code back into Unity, paste it in here, just like that. We'll save that so that we don't have to keep going into XD to get it out. So we got our code saved, so we can use that over and over again. And then the next thing, let's just go ahead and play this quick and see what it looks like. Okay, so you currently can't see that, it's not in our camera view. So if we click on our camera, there's our camera, and that's at 0, 0 and -10, and our square is way off, so let's go ahead and reset that, and then we'll go back and change that to 5. So now we can see that the paddle is actually massive, so we will go and change that. So let's see, select the square, let's make this about 3 maybe, and then we can change our Y value to 0.5 maybe, let's say 4, and then we'll change our X value to 2. Yeah, I think that looks good. So let's go and drag that down to the bottom. Okay, so for this game, I think we're gonna change the resolution of it just so it looks more of a square. Okay, where's it gone? So if we play this, hopefully we get a square. We might have to custom it. So let's go game, free aspect, let's see, 10 by 10, that's the square we want. And then in our scene that should have also changed. So now we have a square scene instead of a rectangle. So if we play that, we might need to change the side of our, the size of our paddle again. So I don't know if that looks good or not. Let's see what else we can do. Free aspect. Let's add another one. So width we want to make 10, and then maybe let's go for so height we want 10, and the width we want a little bit wider. So let's try that. Okay. So that looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and reset this if we can get to it. Reset that. What is happening there? So let's just delete that, and then we can start again. 2D, right, square, and we will also reset that again. Why is it doing that? Anyway, we'll add in that, change the Y value to 0.5 maybe, and then that to 3 I think. Change the Y value again to 0.4. Okay, I don't know what's happening, so you know what? Let us delete that and try it again. 2D sprite square, and we won't reset it. We will change the Y value to 0.5. 1. How about let's just drag this like this, make it look how we want it to. So we'll drag that down to the bottom. So that's pretty much how we want. Why is it doing that? Okay, you know what? Let's just stay with 10 by 10 because I don't know what's happening with the other custom aspect ratio. So for that, we'll just leave it like that. We could always just put our boundary lower, or yeah, we'll figure it out later. Anyway, so let's drag this down to the bottom a little bit more, and then let's go ahead and paste in that green value. So that's going to be our paddle. We're going to control this from left of the screen to the right of the screen. You can move from left to right as much as you want, and then we will add in some restrictions so that you can't go past the boundaries of the walls, so basically the edge of your screen, so you won't be able to go out of here on each side. And then what else do we want to do? We want to add in a script onto this paddle. So let's first of all rename this to paddle, or what are we gonna call it? I think, yeah, let's just leave it as paddle for now, and then let's go ahead and create a new script, paddle. Do that, and then we need to open up the script. First of all, let us drag it into our scripts folder, just like that, and then we need to open it. Did it open? Nope. So let's go ahead and open it. So what we want to do is we want to make it move. So what we need to do is we need to add, or first of all we need to get our horizontal input, and then we need to add some speed to it. So we'll figure out what that is. So let's go ahead and create a function here. Let's go and name it public void move paddle, and then in here we want to get our horizontal input. So let's go var input. I'm getting confused, but anyway, horizontal input is equal to input dot get axes, and then we want to go horizontal. So we are going to create a string here called read only string horizontal is equal to the word horizontal. Let's try and get that right, just like that. So what that's going to do is it's going to look for your input when you select or press the arrow keys or the A and D keys on your keyboard, and every time you press that, that will pick it up, and then it will, if we call this in the update, it is going to update every frame. So if you hold down each of your or either of your arrow keys, the paddle will move in that direction. So let's go and say move paddle. So that is going to allow us to move the paddle whenever we want. So in here we want to get the rigid body of our paddle, which we need to go ahead and add rigid body 2D because we are making a 2D game. And then in here we want to get a reference to that. So let's go serialize field rigid body 2D rigid body, name it that, save that, and then here we want to go rigid body dot transform dot translate. We want to go vector 2 dot right times our horizontal input times time dot delta time, and then we want to times that by our speed, which we need to create, which will allow us to move our paddle from left to right. So let's go ahead and create our speed variable. So let's go float speed. We'll set it at 5 for now and see if that's fast enough. So if we save that, we should be able to now, what's happening here? Highs in here, remember. Okay. Let's go private. Let's see. Anyway, so we'll figure out that later. So now we should be able to move. We should be able to move our paddle. So we need to find our paddle in the inspector, and we need to drag in our 2D rigid body. So if we play this, hopefully we can now move our paddle. So first of all, did that work? Or did it just disappear off the scene? So play it. Okay, so where is it? So it's moving. So let's see, move paddle. Okay, so yeah, we need to put this in an if statement because we only want to move the paddle if you press the button and not like all the time. So what we do is we need to determine if we are pressing down on one of our arrow keys. So let's go and say if input dot get key actually we could probably go and say we could use this, because then it'll give us access to all of our horizontal inputs and not just the one. Okay, clearly can't use that, so let's go input.get key and then what we want to do is we want to get key bracket and then key code dot what is it called, left, I think, left arrow, so that will allow us to move left. So if we copy and paste this in here, hopefully now our paddle shouldn't just move shoot off out of our scene. So let's go ahead and play this. So we should see our paddle is still moving for some reason. Did we save it? We did. Okay, interesting. So let's see why this is happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that and say copy that and put this over here. Float horizontal input like that. And then let us change this to right arrow, just like that. So let's just go and see what this gives us. That probably won't make a difference, but we'll have a look and see anyway. So if we move into so there's our paddle and it's falling. Okay, so maybe okay, I think I know what's wrong. So let's see if we can. Anyway, so we need to probably get rid of our gravity scale because we don't want that to fall out of the scene. So let's see if we play that. We should not see our paddle fall. So it's not falling, which is good. So you see we can move it right, but we can't move it left yet. So let's go ahead and fix that. So then we want to say if input.getKey keycode right arrow, or we'll pretty much just copy and paste that and say left arrow like that. So that should, so the horizontal input should pick up whether you are pressing the left or the right arrow, or A or D, and depending if you press the A key or the left arrow, it should give you a negative value, moving you to the left. And then if you click on the other ones, the D and the right arrow, you should get a positive value, moving you to the right. Let's go ahead and see if this works. So we can move to the right, move to the left, so that's perfect. We can't move up and down, which is great. So now we need to go ahead and add in some restrictions so that we can't move off of the scene like this. So I think I'm gonna increase our speed just because it's a little bit slow. Let's go ahead and put that at 10 maybe. So let's do that, and then what we want to do is we want to add in some restriction so that our paddle does not move out of our scene. So let's go in here and say actually we'll do this in the move paddle just to keep all of the movement code of the paddle together. So we want to go and say, let's try and do it here, see if it works. So if transform dot position dot x, because we only position dot x is less than the left boundary, which is a variable that we will create now. Let's go and do that. So let's go and float left boundary is equal to some value. We need to figure that out. So if we select our paddle, go into our scene view, click on that again, so we zoom into it. So if you look up here at our x value over here, we want to restrict this when it gets to a value of about, let's say about there maybe. So we want to restrict it at about minus 3.8. So let's go and put that in, minus 3.8. And then we want to do the same for our right boundary. So this should be the same, just a positive value, but we will go and double check that just in case. So if we go and just remove that, yeah, so that looks perfect. Also, let's just make that like that so that it kind of looks the same, if you know what I mean. But anyway, perfect. So now okay, so clearly I spelled these wrong. So copy that, and then we change this to right, not tight, right. So if we have reached that boundary, we want to keep our x position at that value until we click on the opposite arrow. So we move in the opposite direction. So for that we can just go transform dot position is equal to a new position of, it'll be a vector 2, and then we want to keep our left boundary the same, and then we want to keep the same y value. So let's go and get the y value off of the paddle. So transform dot position dot y. So that should stop us from moving off the left of the screen. And then for the same thing for the right hand side is pretty much the same. So let's just save us time. Let's just copy that and paste it. So that needs to be is greater than the right boundary. Then we want to keep the right boundary the same, and then we also want to keep the current y position of the paddle. So let us go and see if that works. Did I save it? I did. So we'll ignore that error for now, we'll figure that out later, but let's go ahead and play that. So hopefully we can still move our paddle. We can. So now you can see if we press our arrow keys, we don't go out of our left side of the screen, so that there's a boundary there, as you can see. And if we do the same for our right, we now hit like a wall, it would seem, on our right side and our left side. So that's perfect. Now our paddle is sorted, so that's moving nicely, but I think we still could probably change the speed, make it about 15 maybe. Let's see if that makes it a bit smoother, makes it feel like it plays better, because currently it's a bit slow. Okay, that's a bit better. It's not a very wide screen, so you should be able to reach each side quick enough, but we'll fix that once we get our ball moving, because we won't actually know what the right value is until we set a speed of our ball. So where is our checklist? So set up the paddle movement including the restrictions, we've done that, and get the ball moving. So let us go and start creating our ball. So to do this, we're pretty much just going to add in a a circle. Yeah, circle image, same as our paddle. We just added in a square image. We're just going to add in a quick 2D sprite circle image, and then we want to do is change this for, let's see, about 0.5 by 0.5, and should we set that to 0 maybe? Okay, leave that at minus 4.75. So our ball, we will rename this quick ball, and while we're at it, let's just go ahead and create a ball script, add that onto there, and then we want to change the color, probably this color maybe. I'll leave it like that for now, and then let's go ahead and change our x value to 0. Sorry, not that one. Our position of our x value to 0, so it's in the middle of our paddle, and we'll just go ahead and place it right on top of our paddle. So this is where we're going. When we press space, we're going to release the ball, and it's going to shoot straight up towards the blocks and start breaking them. So let's just play that and see what happens. It shouldn't do anything because we haven't said it must do anything. So if you move the paddle, you can see it moves without our ball, so that's great for now. So what we want to do is, let's just try it. If we drag this underneath our paddle and then play the game, whenever we move our paddle, we should move the ball with us. So that's perfect. So now when we launch the ball off using our space key, we should be able to launch it directly off of the paddle. So if we move here and we press space, it will launch straight up instead of having the ball launch always in the middle. So if you've broken all the blocks except for a block over here, you can move the paddle to the left, launch the ball by pressing space, and that's easier than having the ball launch straight up in the middle and then you having to try and change the angle of the ball. So that's good for now. So let's go and try and get the ball moving. So what we want to do is we need to first of all change, I thought I changed this to ball. Okay, so we changed that. So let's go ahead and add a tag onto our ball, and we'll create a new tag called ball. Go ahead and add that on there. Same for paddle, we'll go and add a new tag created called paddle. Then we shall add the paddle tag onto our paddle, and then let's start working on our ball. So let's just drag that into our scripts folder, leave all our scripts in the same place. So open up our ball script, that's perfect. Let's open it and start working on it. So later on we'll remove the ball in our inspector and take it out of from underneath our paddle as a child, because when you miss the ball and it goes into the outer bounds, we're going to need to respawn it into the scene. We won't do that onto the paddle, so we will reset the position of the ball, and whenever you start the game it will position it above the paddle. So we'll go ahead and do that a bit later, but for now it's fine if we just add it as a child of our paddle. So let us go and see. So what we want to do is we want to add some force to our ball. So let's go, what should we call it? First of all, needs to be a float. We'll just call it ball force, and we'll set that to, let's say, about 20. I don't really know how fast that's going to be, but we'll set it to 20 for now. And then we also need a reference to our rigid body. So let's go rigid body 2D, rigid body, like that. Then we will make a reference so that we can access this inside of our inspector by placing serialized field on it. So then we want to go rigid body dot add force, and then we want to add the ball force, but actually let's go ahead and see. Okay, yeah, so we can't do that because that's just a float, but we need to give it a direction of force. So in our case we want the ball to shoot up, so that's the direction of up, obviously. So let's go vector 2 dot up, I think it is, times our ball force. So that's good, looks good. So if we go ahead and save that, which we have done, and play this, we need to drag, or first we need to add in our rigid body 2D. We'll get rid of the gravity scale, otherwise when we add a force to it, it will shoot up and then just end up falling straight down. In our case, we don't want that. We want it to keep going up until it hits the boundary. We haven't added those yet, so for now it's just going to go straight off the scene. So we'll drag in our rigid body into our rigid body reference on our ball script, and then let's go ahead and play it and see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, our ball moves straight up. Perfect. So we've got our ball moving. We don't have any restrictions in it, so if we zoom out, you'll be able to see our ball somewhere. Actually, so it's going a bit too fast, but if we click on it, you can see it's still, okay, wow, it's going far, it's still going up. So go ahead and cancel that out. I think we'll change our force to, let's say 5 maybe, just because I think 20 is a bit too much. We'll change it later once we've got in our boundaries. So let's see, add some, get the ball moving, which we've done. So what we want to do now is okay, so let's think about this. When we launch the game, or when we play the game, we don't want the ball to just shoot straight up like it is now. We only really want the ball to shoot up when we tell it to. So to do this, we are going to assign a key in this game. We'll assign our spacebar to tell our ball to add force to it so that it goes up. So let's see, if we go to I think it's build settings and then player settings maybe. We need to, no, it's not this one. How do we get the maybe it is file or edit project settings, maybe this one. Oh, okay, that brings us to the same thing. Input manager, axes, so yeah, this is what we want. So jump, I think, is a space key. So when we press our spacebar, it's basically going to allow our ball, it's going to release our ball and make it pop or start moving forward. It will add that force to it. So here we want to go if what's it called, input dot get button down, and then we want to go key. So let's see what it was called. So if we go, did we close it? Yeah, we did. So file, edit, project settings, axis jump is a positive button. Okay, so we want the name of jump. So whenever we get button down of jump, we want to add our force to our ball. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Save that, pop back into the Unity editor, wait for it to update, and then go ahead and play. So now hopefully our ball doesn't shoot straight up, which it's not. So as soon as we press space, you can see the ball is moving very, very slowly, and the more we press it, the more force we add to it. We need to change that because that's not what we want. So first of all, let's go ahead and increase our force to about 50 and see what that gives us. You just gotta play around and see what values fit to your game. So if we play that, press space. So that's still a bit too slow, but we'll work on that later. So let's see. Cool. So let's see. Do we want to? Yeah, let's add in that restriction now. So, like, so you saw that when we press our space button, we do in fact launch our ball up. But if we keep pressing space, we keep launching it. So we don't want this. We only want to be able to launch it or add force to it once. So to do this, we're going to add in a simple check to our update. Do we want to do an update, or should we create another function? Let's create another function. So let's go public add public void add force. So let's go ahead and cut that out and paste that in here, and we'll keep our update function clean. So let's go add force to the ball, and then we want to call in our add force function, and then we change this to capital A because that's how you do it in C#. So that looks good. So now we need to create a boolean. Let's say is in play, maybe is equal to false, or let's just go ball in play, makes more sense. So what we want to do is to add force, we first want to check if, okay, we can also do this in here. So let's go if ball is in play, not ball force, if ball is in play, we do not want to do anything. But if the ball is not in play, then whenever we press space, we want to add some force to it. So if the ball is not in play, and then if you press space, add some force to it, and then once we've added some force to it, we want to go and set ball is in play is equal to true. And then when the ball moves into the out of bounds zone, we will reset our ball in play value to false, and then we will respawn it back onto our paddle. So for us to test this and make sure our ball doesn't fly off the screen straight away, let's go ahead and change the force to about 10 so it doesn't move so fast, so we can actually see. So now if we press space, it shoots up, and if we keep pressing space, you'll notice that the ball doesn't speed up, it stays at a constant speed. So that's perfectly what we want. So let us have a look. First of all, let's go ahead and let's get out of gameplay, add some boundaries for the ball to bounce off of. So let us go and do that. Now we want to add in some boundaries around our screen, so that whenever we launch the ball, it goes up, hits the boundary at the top and bounces straight down. And the same thing for the sides. When the ball hits the side of the screen, we want it to bounce back into the scene. So to do that, let's go and create an empty object, and we'll call those boundaries. Boundary or boundaries. Okay, we'll keep it as boundaries. And in here we want to create another empty, and we'll call this top boundary. let me just check something quick. So first of all, we are coming up to 40 minutes on our stream, so hopefully we can get this done within the hour, but I don't think so. Okay, so we'll leave that like that, and then we will add in a collider, so 2D box collider, and we will stretch this out so that's the length of our screen. We can make it a bit shorter because we don't really need it to be that tall. And then we'll go ahead and move this to the top of the screen, just like that. We'll make it so that it kind of overlaps the screen a little bit, just so that the ball doesn't disappear out of the scene. And then what we want to do is we want to copy and paste that, and then let's go left. Okay, so we need to make that capital. Left boundary, and then where is that? We need to move that because that's over here as well. And then we need to rotate it. So rotate it on the Z axis 90 degrees. Place that right over here. So let's just check 1990. Okay, cool. And then what we want to do is duplicate that and pop that on the right side of our screen, slightly in, and change this from left to right. And we want to move this slightly into the screen a little bit because I forgot. And then if we play this, we should see our ball. Okay, that's gonna take forever to get there, so let's go and change that quick. Let's see, 50. So we should see our ball bounce off of our top boundary and back down. Actually, it won't bounce back down, but let's go ahead and see what happens. So if we go and release it, okay, it's a bit too slow as well, but we'll wait. We should see the ball just hit the boundary and stay there. And that's not what we see, so that's interesting. Maybe. Where is it? So let's see. Top boundary. Let us see why. Left, right. Interesting. So I think we need to, first of all, I think I know. So we need to add in some physics to our ball. So let's go ahead and create a new folder and create folder materials. So we need to go ahead and create a new physics material wherever that is. Let's see, physics material there. Let's go bouncy. Oh, let's just go bounce maybe. What should we call this? Yeah, let's just go bouncy. Anyway, then we want to call bounciness to 1. We want to set our friction to 0 and the other friction to 0. So hopefully, first of all, let's just check something quick. Create physics material. Let's see what the materials they are. Okay, so physics material is correct. Let's delete that. And then what we want to do is select our ball and drag in our bouncing material. drag in our bouncy material in there, but it's not working, so interesting. So clearly we got the wrong material. Create let's see, testing shader, 2D. That's the one. So we need to create a 2D material, not just a material. So new physics material, friction is 0 and bounciness set to 1. Select our ball. Hopefully this we can drag and drop that in, so that's working nicely. So hopefully when we play and launch our ball up and it hits the collider, hopefully it bounces back down. Let us try. Hopefully we get lucky. I don't have to debug anymore after this. So hopefully this works. Let's go ahead and play out the game and then launch the ball. So it's going up and up. Hopefully it bounces off. Still not. Okay, interesting. So let us figure out why. Very, very interesting. So the top one, material. Okay, let's see. Have we got Google here? Did we close it? Yeah, we closed it. So if we open up a new tab and open up Google, what's happening to the internet? Okay, I don't know what happened there, but let's go and say, what do we want to say? Unity ball not colliding with box. Was it box collider? Box collider. So let's go ahead and see why. Hello there. After reading this, thank you. I'll set the value to collision detection mode, continuous dynamic. Where's Unity? Okay, here. So maybe do we need a collider on the ball? Maybe. Let's see if that works. First of all, let's go and see. Let's just have a look at other things quick. Box and circle collider. I created two game objects. One is box and the other one is ball. Then I added collider to them and to collision them, but it's not working. I searched on the internet and looked for a possible solution and they didn't work. Is trigger unchecked? No. One needs to be a rigid body to trigger collision events. So that is correct. One of ours is a rigid body. In our case, is the ball. So let's go ahead and play and see what happens. Maybe it will work. You never know. Oh, look at that! It works. So we added in our circle collider onto our ball, so that works. And then we also added in a box collider to our boundaries. So what we're going to do is we are also going to add in a box collider to our paddle, so that hopefully our ball bounces off of our boundary, goes back down, and then bounces off of our paddle. Okay, perfect. So that works. We just need to fix that. So on our paddle, let's go to constraints. No constraints. Where is it? Info. Yeah. So we want to freeze the paddle's Y position. Freeze the rotation so it doesn't rotate. We don't want to freeze the X position because we want to be able to move the paddle from left to right on the X axis. And then the same thing we want to do is in our ball rigid body, we want to freeze the rotation of it so that it doesn't rotate. Because it's a 2D game, if it rotates, at some point it would become invisible, because you would just be looking straight down at it, or be looking at like a piece of paper, like this way. Don't know if you know what I mean, but anyway, let's go ahead and see what happens now. So let's launch our ball, it bounces off the wall, so that's working, that's perfect. So now it's working. Okay, so this is also a reason why we can't have the ball as a child object of our paddle, because whenever we move our paddle, the ball is going to move with it. But you get it. You can see how the game is coming along slowly. So this is basically how the game will work. You'll be able to control the ball like this and try and move the paddle around so that you hit the different blocks in the scene. So that's working nicely. We'll go ahead and just remove this out of our paddle for now and see what happens. So now when we move our paddle, the ball is not going to move with it, so you'll see like that. So if we launch it, you can see that happens. The ball bounces off the boundaries and then bounces off of our paddle. Perfect. So let's just go ahead and see if we can edit this a bit, because okay, so it is the entire circle, so we'll leave that for now. But anyway, that's working nicely. Let's go ahead and save that. Save our scripts which we've done. We don't need that, so we'll go ahead and close that, and then we'll have a look at our checklist. So we're nearly reaching an hour in this video, so add in some boundaries for the ball to bounce off of, so we've done that, and then add an out of bounds area below the paddle and respawn on paddle. So let's go ahead and add an out of bounds area. So first of all, let's go and replace these because I don't like it that way. So now the same thing that we did for our boundaries, we are going to copy the top boundary. Because it's the same as what we'll need for the bottom boundary, we don't have to rotate it, it's just a waste of time, so we'll go ahead and copy that and place it over there. Actually, we'll place it just slightly a bit lower, and then we will rename it to out of bounds, like that. And then we want to just add a tag onto this called out of bounds, like that. Go ahead and select out of bounds, add the newly created tag onto it. And then what we want to do is we want to go into our ball, or should we create a new script for this? Let's see. Maybe. Now we'll do it in the ball script for now, just because it's a simple game, so you don't need to create multiple scripts. So in our game, let's go and say, can you see this? Hold on, let's move this. Oh, or we can just scroll up a bit so you can see. So yeah, you can see that. So here we want to go public, or let's just go on trigger, enter 2D, and then on here we want to go if collision dot tag is equal to out of bounds. Let's just go and print debug dot log, and we'll say ball out of bounds, just like that. Let's go ahead and create the read-only string. So read-only means you can only read it, you can't change it. String out of bounds is equal to. So this we need to name the exact same as our tag, so hopefully that's the same. Let's check out of bounds. Out of bounds, so yeah, that's good. So when we collide with that out of bounds area, this block over here, we should get a console log here saying ball out of bounds. Let's go ahead and see if that works. So we'll launch the ball and then we'll move out of the way. Okay, so that's clearly not working. So let's see why. Did I name this one under? So let's remove that and just create a new one. Interesting. Out of bounds, add in that tag, save that, play. Did I save the script? I did. Maybe if we go is triggered, maybe then we should be able to get that message saying out of bounds. Okay, so ball out of bounds. So where's our ball gone? Our ball is still moving. Okay, interesting. So actually, let's see. Let's go and play the game, and then we'll switch to our scene. Let's just set this up and select this guy so we can see. We will bounce that and see. Okay, so it's still there, but it's going through it, which is fine because after that we're just going to destroy the ball. So then we want to, first of all, let's go and get, what is it? We want to get the starting position of the ball, so that whenever we destroy it we can respawn it in the same location, just for now. In the future we're going to respawn it wherever the paddle is, on top of the paddle. So let's just go private transform start position, and over here we're going to go start is equal to transform dot position. Okay, so this needs to be vector 3, I forgot. So just like that. And then when we collide with the thing, the out of bounds box, we want to destroy game object or game object. So that's going to destroy the ball, because we are in the ball script. So whenever you destroy a game object in a script, it destroys the game object that script is attached to. So that's exactly what we want. And then what we want to do after that is we want to actually respawn the ball, but we won't be able to do it in the ball script because it will be destroyed. So in our game manager, do we want to do it there? Actually, let's just go and see if this works first. We could probably deal with the respawning later. So if we do that, you can see the ball has now disappeared out of our hierarchy, so it's no longer in the scene. So that's fine, that's what we wanted. So we will, I think, end the stream over here, just because this video is an hour long so far. And to respawn the ball, we have to start something completely different with that. So I don't want to get into something completely new now, just because it's going to take a while. So for now we will just take that, and then we will go ahead and commit this to GitHub, wherever GitHub is. So what do we do in today's episode? Basic gameplay is what we did. Basic gameplay. So let's say created paddle and ball, and added in the movement for both, as well as adding in the boundary, adding in the, what's it called? Clear, I can't spell. Why is that wrong? Am I going crazy? Oh, what's happening? Added in the boundaries. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. So let's see, both as well as adding the boundaries for the ball to bounce off of, and added in the out of bounds. Below the pedal. Okay, so that's fine. We'll go ahead and commit that, and then we can go ahead and push that. So I think that's it for today. So let's just close all of our stuff quick. Oh, well that's helpful. I didn't save the project and I already committed it anyway. I'll go ahead and fix that. So yeah, okay, so that is it for episode 2 of our Breakout series. So far so good, everything looks to be working properly. We got our ball moving very nicely and our paddle moving, we added in our restrictions. So in tomorrow's episode we're going to be probably creating some of our blocks, allowing our ball to collide with them and break them and shatter them. We'll work on our particle effect. And then that will be roughly halfway through our series, so these are going really fast. I'm enjoying them. I don't know about you guys. If you are, please do like the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you're enjoying every episode. I have got a few comments on some of the videos, which was good feedback, so that's nice to see. So that is encouraging me to obviously create more, so I need to think of another game, because I haven't actually got a 3rd series planned. So I need to come up with another game. So if you have game suggestions, please do comment them below, and I will see if we can make them. But for now, I think that is it for today's episode, so I thank you for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. Thank you, bye.
Protect